If you thought week 1 was wild, well, week 2 was on a whole nother level. There were some absolutely insane games, and I still don't know what's going on. Last week, I went 12-4, bringing my total record on the season to 24-8. In this video, I'll be predicting every week 3 game with score predictions. If you enjoy this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Subscribe takes just a second, and it really helps me out. Thank you, and let's get started. Green Bay Packers versus Cleveland Browns. So we can all agree to just consider the Packers 3-0 already, right? I mean, they are currently 2-0 with 2-score wins over the Lions and Commanders. I think it's safe to call them Super Bowl contenders at this point, and the Browns are probably the furthest thing from that. I'm taking Green Bay 38-13, and that's probably lowballing it. This is not going to be a pretty game. Indianapolis Colts versus Tennessee Titans. Okay, so week 1 wasn't a fluke. Indiana Jones is actually just a good quarterback now. Against what is by all means a top 3 defense, Jones put up over 300 total yards and 2 total touchdowns with no turnovers, which is the first time he's done that since January of 2023. He was dropping Danny dimes all over the place, and the Colts are 2-0 for the first time since 2009, and that's not even the only record broken by the Colts this year. Jones now has 2 starts where the Colts offense had 0 punts and 0 turnovers. Peyton Manning only did that once in 227 starts. The Colts might actually just win the AFC South this year, and Jones is gonna win MVP. After all that Colts hype, there's not much left over for the Titans, but Cam Moore did throw a sick-ass touchdown pass. However, the Titans are still a bad team. Give me the Colts to move to 3-0 with a 27-19 victory. There's always one surprise team every season, and I guess it's the Colts this year. Cincinnati Bengals versus Minnesota Vikings. Well, this is going to be an awful game. Both starting quarterbacks are out this week, meaning instead of getting a matchup between Joe Burrow and JJ McCarthy, we have an electrifying QB battle between Jake Browning and Carson Wentz. Browning threw 3 interceptions in place of Joe Burrow, but somehow managed to win due to a BTJ drop and a bullshit penalty. The Vikings look like a UFL team on Sunday Night Football, and basically their entire roster is injured. I think it's about time we rename this team to the Minnesota 49ers. At the end of the day, I'm going to go with the team that actually has a competent defense, and that's the Vikings. So give me Minnesota 23-17. But unless you're a fan of either of these teams, please watch something else, because this is going to suck. Pittsburgh Steelers versus New England Patriots. Well, the Aaron Rodgers experiment was fun while it lasted, but he and the entire Steelers offense crashed down to earth against the Seahawks. Aaron Rodgers played like shit, and this defense has been absolute garbage. TJ Watt has done nothing this year. Myles Garrett literally has more sacks than Watt has pressures. I don't want anybody comparing these two again. Maybe focus on teaching your return man the goddamn kickoff rules. The Patriots got a big win over the Dolphins. Drake May probably played the best game of his career, and the defense did enough in the 4th quarter to get the win. This is definitely going to be a close game, but I'm taking New England 27-24. Pittsburgh's defense has not looked good so far, and getting Christian Gonzalez back is huge for the Patriots. Los Angeles Rams versus Philadelphia Eagles. So is the Eagles offense just bad or what? They only managed 216 total yards against the Chiefs, and Hurts completed just a single pass 10 or more yards downfield. They haven't gotten Saquon or AJ Brown going like last year, and the play calling seems so simple. Luckily for them, their defense is a brick shit house and is practically impossible to score on. However, the Rams do have a good offense. Both Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams had great games against the Titans. But despite that, I am picking Philadelphia 23-21. The Eagles have the defense to contain the Rams offense, and hopefully Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown can actually do something this week. New York Jets versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After a great performance in week 1, the Jets fell flat on their face in week 2. Justin Fields played horrible and got injured, and Tyrod Taylor wasn't too much better, and the Jets defense continues to be ass. The Bucs are coming off a fantastic win over the Texans. Baker Mayfield legitimately might be the best quarterback so far this season. He's now led 2 game-winning drives in 2 weeks and is making some ridiculous plays both through the air and on the ground. This will not be pretty. I'm taking Tampa 33-16. Maybe Aaron Glenn wasn't the best hire after all. Las Vegas Raiders versus Washington Commanders. Both of these teams are coming off brutal losses. The Raiders made everyone stay up way too late just to watch them shit the bed against a team that wasn't the goddamn Patriots. Geno Smith looked like prime Nathan Peterman, and Ashton Genty has been pretty disappointing so far, at least from a production standpoint. The Commanders lost to the Packers, which to be honest, there's no real shame in that considering the Packers might just be the best team in the NFL. Their O-line got destroyed, having Josh Connolly going against Micah Parsons in his 2nd ever NFL game did not go well. Jaden Daniels isn't playing, but I do think Marcus Mariota is a solid backup, and I have the Commanders bouncing back with a 23-17 win. I think their offense should be able to do enough against the Raiders defense, and hopefully they can finally get Terry McLaurin involved this week. Atlanta Falcons versus Carolina Panthers. Okay, so now I have no idea what to think about Bryce Young. Pretty much his entire last season could be summed up in this one game. He started off looking like complete dog shit, but after the first 2 drives, the dude played really well, especially in the second half. He had a career-high 328 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to get the comeback win. The Falcons absolutely destroyed the Vikings. They were pressuring JJ McCarthy all night, and Bijan Robinson might just be the best running back in the league. I think this game could be really close, but I am taking Atlanta 24-23. I think Bijan has another huge game, and I think the Falcons are just a more complete team than Carolina. Houston Texans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Both of these teams are coming off extremely disappointing losses. The Jags should have beat the Bengals, but Brian Thomas dropped a wide open pass on 4th down, and then the defense allowed a game-winning drive to, of all people, Jake Browning. The Texans had seemingly won the game with a Nick Chubb touchdown late in the 4th, but their supposedly elite defense allowed an 80-yard game-winning drive by Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. CJ Stroud has been sort of underwhelming so far, though I don't really put the blame on him as much as I do the disgusting pile of dog shit that is the Texans' offensive line. I think the Texans finally get their first win here, 23-20. They need this one in order to stay competitive with the Colts, and I just can't see them dropping to 0-3. Denver Broncos versus Los Angeles Chargers. The positives for the Broncos: Bo Nix didn't look like he just stepped on a football field for the first time. The negatives for the Broncos: their defense allowed Indiana Jones to have one of, if not the best game of his entire career. Losing on a questionable penalty sucks, but they shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. Outside of Zach Allen, nobody on that defense played well. The Chargers defense, on the other hand, played very well against the Raiders, and I don't think it's insane to say the Chargers are the current best team in the AFC West. Justin Herbert is playing some elite football, and Quentin Johnson might have finally figured things out in year 3. I'm taking the Chargers to move to 3-0 with a 27-21 win. This team just looks unstoppable right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up winning the division. New Orleans Saints versus Seattle Seahawks. Well, on the bright side, Spencer Rattler actually looked pretty good. Unfortunately, the Saints defense allowed Mac Jones to look better. But if Rattler keeps playing like this, the Saints will probably be competitive in quite a few games, even if they still have a horrible team. The Seahawks got a big bounce back win over the Steelers, assisted by JSN being incredible and Caleb Johnson forgetting that to return the football, you actually have to, pick up the football, which gave the Seahawks a free touchdown. I don't need to spend too much time on this game. I think we all know Seattle's winning. I'm taking them 24-14. I do think the Saints will be slightly competitive, but at the end of the day, the Seahawks are just a much better football team. Dallas Cowboys versus Chicago Bears. Okay, so the week 1 loss to the Vikings wasn't a fluke. The Bears are just shit. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Ben Johnson's old offense roasted him alive and dropped a 50 burger on his ass, and there was nothing the Bears offense could do. An offense that did do things was the Cowboys, and what was somehow the game of the week, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys offense dropped 40 points on the Giants, and CeeDee Lamb only had 1 drop instead of 4. Now, there are serious concerns with their defense, because how do you allow Russell Wilson to have the best game he's ever had in the 2020s at 36 years old? But regardless, at least the Cowboys offense looked good, and Brandon Aubrey might legitimately be the most talented player at any position in the entire NFL. That isn't an exaggeration. I think this could be a high-scoring game, but I'm taking Dallas 31-27. I don't trust the Bears at all, and it's looking like another rough season for Chicago. Arizona Cardinals versus San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals nearly pulled off a massive choke job against the Panthers, but managed to get the win despite being outscored 13-0 in the 4th quarter. Kyler Murray had probably the most Kyler Murray game of all time. Some great runs, some great throws, and a disgusting interception. But nevertheless, they got it done. The 49ers are coming off a solid win over the Saints. Mac Jones actually played surprisingly well, though to be fair, it is the Saints. I have no idea if Brock Purdy's going to play in this game, considering it's going to be a game-time decision, but even if he does, I don't think he'll be 100%, and that's why I'm taking the Cardinals 24-20. I think Arizona's defense does just enough against whichever QB San Fran rolls out there, and they take the lead in the NFC West. Kansas City Chiefs versus New York Giants. To the delight of 31 other NFL fan bases, the Kansas City Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. Travis Kelce is genuinely hurting this team more than he's helping. In week 1, he took out Xavier Worthy, and in week 2, he dropped what would have been an easy touchdown that instead resulted in a pick. Also, wearing free 4 shirts isn't helping matters. Patrick Mahomes is doing everything he can, but he's getting no help out there. Until they get their receivers back, I don't think this is going to be a good offense. The Giants, on the other hand, might actually have a a great offense. After a shit show in week 1, Russell Wilson and the Giants did a complete 180, dropping 506 yards and 37 points. Russell Wilson turned back the clock, throwing for a damn near career-high 450 passing yards. They lost the game because their defense forgot how to play football, but it's good to see the Giants actually have a functional offense. Oh, and Malik Neighbors is very quickly approaching top 5 wide receiver conversations. However, despite all my praise for the Giants, I do see Kansas City coming out on top 21-17. I just don't see the Chiefs falling to 0-3, and I don't think the Giants do too much on offense against what is an extremely talented Chiefs defense. Detroit Lions versus Baltimore Ravens. We've saved the best for last. This is going to be one hell of a game. Both these teams are coming off of blowout wins. The Lions beat the shit out of the Bears, dropping a 50-burger on them, and the Ravens weren't far behind, putting up 41 on the Browns. I honestly would not be surprised if we see over 1,000 yards of offense in this game, and I think it's going to be super high scoring. But in the end, I'm taking Baltimore 38-34. This game is being played in Baltimore, and while I do think they get gashed a bit, I do trust the Ravens defense a little more than the Lions right now. This will be an absolute banger of a game, but the Ravens come out on top. But that's it. Those are my week 3 NFL predictions. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Comment below. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new, and that's it for me. See ya.